quickly.
Well,
oh, goodness.
it is Wednesday.
Right.
And it is Wednesday afternoon.
Yes.
I
feel like, I don't know, out of sorts.
Out of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, jacket on. I'm like, I don't like the way it looks without the jacket.
I know.
But it's warmer back here than it is anywhere else. So if I might change halfway through.
It could happen.
You never know.
You do not.
You just don't.
You just
So, yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We have some of our favorite things here, and some of them were in the email and some of them are not.
Right.
So there's always favorites, and you think of one and then you're like, oh, and this one. And oh, like I thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't put that in there.
We did not know. I opened my sewing thing this morning and I was like, what do I have in here that I didn't put in there? Because I didn't bring this.
Right.
I was like, oh, this and this
that.
and those. So yeah,
absolutely.
It's funny. I haven't gone to a lot of classes with my sewing machine in a long time.
Yeah.
So I used to do classes all the time, and then that just
life changed,
right? Yeah, and so it's different. But when I started making the bags, I started carrying a little case of different things that we have in the store but I can never put my hands on.
Hand on it. Yeah.
So kind of a little case, a little zippered case, and then when I went on my last vacation, I
took that with you because you took sewing stuff with you.
And then I added some things to the little sewing case, and I was like, oh, I can keep these in here for those just in.
It's another reason you need like 4 of everything, because one, you can't find it. 2, you can have one in your little travel something and not miss it.
Yeah.
On your main.
So I've been redoing the sewing room, right? And so I've finally got the machines like in the places, and I was like, okay, now I need to like set up the little
tools
next to them. So I have like little stash in stores, and I set them out, and I was like, oh, it's bad. I've got 4 pairs of scissors. I've got 4 stilettos.
That just makes life less stressful,
right.
Is what that does.
I was like, I need to color code them. I should put like a
little sticker
so they go to the right.
Blue goes to this machine, green goes to that one.
Right.
Yeah, pink. You got to have pink and purple.
Pink and purple, because they always end up in the same spot or underneath something that I can't find. So even when
you have 4 of them, you still can't find it.
I still can't find it. No, and I try to keep the room tidy as it can be. But when you're in the middle of a project, it's kind of like those old things where you see people just throwing things. I feel like that's what happens when I'm in the middle of it. Like I just throw it. It's like
I don't know where it goes. It's going over here. Yep, too busy. Can't deal with that. Nope,
right.
Not right now. But yeah, so glad you could join us today, Shirley. I know you're always excited when you can join live. So
yes.
So,
but it is National Quilting Month, and I think yesterday or the day before, I don't know, National Quilting Day just passed as well. So, it's fun. It's fun to see like all the things that people are doing for National Quilting Month. And
it's always a good thing because people tend to share more, and then you get inspired, and then you want to go home and you do.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Whenever Dave asked me, is there anything that I miss about my old job? I say the quilts, because I don't see as many. We see quilts that come in and go. They're going to the quilter and stuff like that. But
we don't get to actually see them.
We don't see them, and
very
I also
often.
didn't have my hand in helping you pick out the fabric. So a lot of times I would be like, oh, I can't wait to see what it looks like when you get all your things together.
Right.
Then they would show it, and we're like, oh, that's great, or. They're like, oh, I wish I would have done this or what. I missed that part.
Basically what we're saying is we would love to see your projects.
Yeah, definitely.
We both really enjoy that, to see what other people are doing. And, we all have different tastes and we all have different focuses on what we want to do. But it is so inspiring to see somebody else do something. And then you're like, I could do that.
Right. It makes you want to go home and sew.
It makes you want to go home and sew.
Yeah.
And, we've been doing our, is it Monday? What day do we do that? Mondays? The spotlight?
Yes.
Mondays. On Mondays,
the Feature Friday that's on Monday?
The Feature Friday that's on Monday. We feature projects that customers are doing. So, even if it's just a picture, you don't have to necessarily drag it in here.
Right.
But send us a picture and say, this is what I did. And we will make you our spotlight for the week. And
right.
and we'll share, and so everybody can be inspired by whatever it
And
is
you
that
don't have
did.
to be in the picture if you don't want to be.
Oh,
You can
absolutely
be,
not.
but you do not
Yeah,
have to
you
be.
can
So
hide
that's
behind the
totally
quilt.
optional.
You could lay the quilt out and be behind the camera. Or whatever the project is. It doesn't have to be a quilt either. So, but we would love for you to share with us, and we will then share with
you all.
everybody else too.
Yes. The
There you
circle
go.
of life.
The circle of life, the circle of inspiration, right? So yeah, there's so many things that I absolutely love to see what other people are doing. So I totally get that.
Yep.
You know, and when you said, you know, I'm not sure what happened. You went from part-time to full-time. That's what happened.
It is. It totally is.
I
But
mean-
I still would have missed that part because.
Oh, that part, yes, but
yeah.
the time to sew and,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
whatnot, big difference when you're, you know,
Yeah.
2 days a week versus 5 days a week versus
Also,
7 days a week.
There's also a little more commuting time here.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much that hour and a half every single day just eats into.
Your personal, I can do this time.
Right. I used to sew in the morning before I went to work.
remember.
And I'd have at my current schedule, I would have to get up at like 4:30 in the morning in order to have time to sew before I get ready and do all of the things.
That will never happen for me unless I stay up
You
all
would
night.
still be up, yeah.
If I stayed up all night, I could sew and then come to work. But
Right.
otherwise, there's
And
no
I
way
mean,
I'm getting up early enough to do that before I
too
come.
early.
I will stay up late, but I can't get up early.
Yeah, anything before 6 is too early. 6 o'clock. I prefer 6:30, but I could do 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't like that number.
Yeah,
That number 6 is too early
and
for me.
I'm pretty well ready for bed at about 11. So that's usually my hours. But the brain shuts off way earlier than that. Yeah.
Functionality is downhill from.
That's right. Right. So if you guys have some favorite notions and things like that you would like to share with everybody,
Yeah, put them in the
please
comments and we
do.
will make a
Yes.
mention of whatever your favorites are as well.
And we will link all of the things that we can link. We'll put a little post in there as we're showing the stuff. So we have some fun events and classes coming up.
We do.
We have
One of them is even quilting.
One of them is even quilting. Yeah, not this month, but starting next month. So I've been talking about doing a beginning quilting class, and Lisa and I had chatted about it. I had like a long list of things that I really wanted to be able to cover with it. And I was having trouble finding like the right pattern. And I found a really cool pattern. It's not exactly written the way that I wanted it to be written, but you know, sometimes you have to give and take a little bit. But I can rework a little bit of the cutting instructions to make it flow a little better. But it's really cute. And we have some really cute fabrics. And one of the things that people ask us about a lot of times is, hey, you know, I like it when you don't word it like I have a real job, because I have a real job too. But some of you do post that you work like banker's hours, kind of like we do, and we totally understand that. And so you are looking for classes that are after those hours.
Right.
And I decided to attempt to do a quilting class on Sunday afternoons. So it is going to be virtual because as much as I love you all, I'm not driving 45 minutes into the shop on Sunday for a 2-hour class and then 45 minutes home. But I will be teaching it from my house. So it's going to be virtual, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a nice little assortment of things to cover, everything from the very beginning. So if you need it as a refresher course, we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff.
Rotary cutting and everything,
Yeah,
literally.
prepping your fabrics, rotary cutting, different blocks, and how to sew the blocks in multiple different ways. So we'll have like the traditional flying geese, half square triangle kind of things.
And then how you can cheat and make that easier.
How you can cheat and make that easier, absolutely. And then we're going to talk about like putting blocks together, some tips and tricks, and sashing and rows and borders, and how to get your quilt to lay flat before you quilt it. And then this is basically, I call it a beginning quilting class. It's really a beginning piecing class, but piecing doesn't really, doesn't garner the same
People look at it, yeah,
differently.
You need a different name
We
to.
will not be covering like layer, quilt, and bind, but we'll do something like that in the fall where I will go into details about
Do a
how.
new binding class.
Yeah, I'll do another binding class. I'll do a quilting
Somebody
class.
asked me the other day if you would do another serger quilt class.
Maybe that could come up on my.
That could be the foot,
Yes.
and that could be part of that.
Yeah. So yeah, we can certainly look into that again. I feel like it doesn't seem like my plate is full. I always feel like people are like, you're not teaching very much, but this is also, while it's not actually a class, there's a lot of prep work that goes into.
A lot of prep that we do go into getting ready to do this for you guys every week. But yeah, the act of virtual and or in-store makes class prep very different from what it used to be. You know, it used to be I could just do my sample, put out the thing, and then show up at the beginning of the class and be like, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It doesn't work that way.
No, it's a little bit different.
It is definitely the prep. So it's more engaging on our end of what we have to do to make all of those things happen. So even though it feels like we're probably doing a lot more, you know, than what it ends up on the calendar, but.
I don't have anything prepped to do, but we'll see if I can get some, maybe Tucker is listening and she can bring me a scrap of binding.
Yeah, we used to have a little thing that we could actually show. Yeah, we had a cheater for that, but I don't have one of those things. We never know where to find it around here.
Yeah. But anyways, so.
Well, we're always happy to give you our time and our efforts.
Oh, I need like a 2.5 inch, to make a faux binding, and maybe like a little square of something that I can put it onto. Yeah, thank you.
To pretend to put it on.
Oh, thanks, Sue.
Yes, very, very much so.
So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's 6 Sundays. It's over April, May, and then a little bit in June. Which is crazy because we're also doing the shop hop in June, but it's
just the
Sundays
it up a bit
before, absolutely. And they'll be easy. There'll be videos. You'll have handouts, all of the stuff. And so if you can't make the class, you'll still get the video. You'll still get the handout.
Right. So if if like one of the dates doesn't work for you guys, don't worry about it. You'll have everything that you need to do that on your own time.
And I'll edit all the boring stuff out so that you just have the good detail and how it is. And this is the cute kit.
So.
You want, I probably haven't even added that to that yet. So, so hard to get good help.
Hey,
it also helps when you hit the right button.
There are so many.
It's this one. And it's this one.
Cool. All right, so this is the fabric kit. So some really great shades in here, and they all coordinate beautifully with our flower fabric that we've got back here that's got some pinks and teals and greens. So we kind of extended that out here with the colors. And this is the adorable pattern. It is simple, but at the same time, you're going to get a lot of different techniques in there so that you can learn the different types. And like she said, she's going to do both the traditional way and then, hey, you could cheat a little bit. If you want to, you could do it like this. So some different options with that. So this is Sarah, Sewing with Sarah and Beginning Quilting. And that would be the whole shebang there. I did post the link that's up there that's going to be the sign up for that class. So that was my show somebody how to use the hoop.
Yeah, I'm going to steal a chunk of batting off of it.
Jeez.
I'll make sure it's usable.
So as long as we are talking and I've got this camera up over here, I'm going to just pop this one in. So this is a class that I am doing. It's a little trinket tray. You know, you can put your tapes, you could put bobbins, you could put clips, you could put packages of needles, whatever it is that you are needing to throw in there so that it doesn't roll off the table or you can find. This is a embroidery class. It's going to be all done in the hoop, and then you just add these cute little snaps, and you can store it flat or you can put those back together and you've got your little tray. So this is going to be an embroidery class I've got coming up on April 15th, and this is the finished project. It's going to be a little bit bigger than this Actually, when we finish it, I did the smaller side because when I got to the machine, I realized I needed to mess with the design a little bit. So I've done that. And when you sign up for class, you'll get that auto download that has that in there. You will also get 2 different designs. So this is the design that I have that I just showed you, but you'll also get this one as well. So that is coming up in what, about 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Be here before you know it. And they can already sign up, right?
You can already sign up. It is on our website.
And if you have punch cards, you can use your punch card on either class.
I don't think I put it in what's new. Now that I think about it. Let's go to classes.
Lisa's going to put that up there. And the both of them, the cost of the class includes your supplies, essentially. Yes. So you're going to have a design and then a kit. And mine will have pattern and fabric. So
you'll get instructions, printed out instructions and everything. The kit for mine is actually going to have already a printed applique piece. So some people have trouble with their printers getting it the right size and everything. So I pre-printed that for everybody. It's going to be in your kit. The snaps are in your kit. So here's a little new thing that I don't usually do. This is going to be virtual only for me. And the reason is because you're going to be needing an 8-inch wide hoop. So for a lot of us, we don't want to drag those big machines out. Our travel machine is maybe a 6x10 hoop or something like that if we have a travel machine. So we talked about it and we were like, let's just go virtual. And that way nobody has to do any heavy lifting. And I'm going to actually run it twice on that Tuesday, the 15th, one at 10:30 in the morning. And then I'm going to do a 5 o'clock at night class again for people that are busy during the day and can't do that during the daytime stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to hopefully be able to work into your schedules and get all that work in for you guys
and
a little bit better.
We are staying open until 7 on
Mondays. Yep. So open till 7 on Monday, and then that Tuesday we'll have a class that runs from 5 to 7. And all of the materials that you need to make that project are going to be in the kit. The only thing would be a tool for the snaps, which we have one here. Everybody is welcome always to come in and use our tools. In the sign up, there is a link on if you wanted to go get your own so that you have that for future reference.
Yeah.
So
easy peasy, right?
Easy peasy. So I'm looking forward to it. It's super cute. Came out really darling.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
So in order for me to do this, I need to go take a couple stitches on the sewing machine since I moved it. So why don't you show some of the other fun projects, and I shall return in 1 second.
Do we have any other? Oh, well, we've got this guy. Can they still?
Yeah. So yeah, there's one seat left in the class, but we also have kits available if they
just want to get the stuff
to play. Yep. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
So this adorable thing right here is the Firefly tote. The pattern is by Noodlehead. I finally got that right in my head. It took me so long to be able to say that. It has a pocket here. It also has a zipper pocket here. One of the really nice things I like about this is, first of all, this beautiful cream fabric here is canvas. So you're getting a nice, really durable bag. And then it has this really cool drawstring piece on the top to keep all of your pieces inside in place. And there's also pockets inside the bag. So this is a great pattern. We do have one spot left in the actual class to build this. And like she was saying, we do have kits also available that you could add that in if you wanted to just make it on your own. You certainly could do that as well. So we have, again, one spot, and that is a class being taught by Jan. And she is, oops, wrong button. Let's try this one. She is coming in and teaching some great classes for us, doing some bag making. So this one is specifically for the Firefly tote, and we have that available, one seat to be in the class, or you can just purchase the kit and pattern on your own. The link that's popping up right now is going to get you into that sign up if you are interested. So very cute. It stands up on its own. You can see it's got a good stable base on there, and then you've got that really cute drawstring. We've got some really pretty rainbow hardware. So we've got rivets here. Again, in class, we will have the rivet press here so that you can get all of that done. And if you do buy the kit, we do have a rivet press that's supposed to be arriving tomorrow here at the store. So you could come in and get those fixed if you are just doing the pattern on your own as well. And again, this is also that pretty rainbow metal. So you've got some nice color going on in there. So very fun. We've got the Firefly tote. So those are the upcoming classes that we have. We've also got some phenomenal different tools that are here. So Quilter Select this is their cutting mat. You can see the QS right here. They also have different rulers. So this one has a yellow tint to it. They have recently come out with some that have a pink tint to them. And they have a clear one that has just become available as well. What makes these rulers stand out from the others is when you get your ruler lined up, your fabric does not shift. There is a grip underneath the ruler, so it literally, you can turn it and go through a corner, so if you were needing a rectangular piece, you can measure that out, get your ruler right along those pieces. You can come up and then turn. Everything stays right in position and go to the other direction as well. So the Quilter Select rulers, we have quite a few different options on that. And I will pop up that link in here in just a moment. So that is absolutely a very important tool. If you are already a quilter, you know how important it is that you have good cuts.
I'm back to
If I did, I always miss you when you're not here. I'm so lonely. Evidently, I am not capable of putting, there we go. I'm like, why won't it go in? So the Quilter Select rulers are really great for getting the precision cuts that you need when you're quilting. That was one of my problems, I guess you'll call it, when I first started quilting, is nobody told me how much that mattered. They said, get a rotary cutter, get a, and this is what you need to cut, which, yes, you should always cut to the sides, but those other rulers do this. Well, nobody told me if it's doing that, everything's not going to work out in the end. And lo and behold, it didn't all work out in the end, and it was very frustrating. And I was like, I don't think I like quilting.
Right.
Well, the next time I did it, I used Quilter Select rulers, and everything was precisely cut, and it all went together so much better. And lo and behold, it was a lot more fun.
Yeah.
So having that right tool really does make a difference, and those Quilter Select rulers are phenomenal for that. So again, they are now coming in different colors. So it's just a matter of what kind of floats your boat. A lot of people were, they didn't like the yellow. I actually do, but I definitely don't like the pink. I'm sure that surprises all of you. But the clear that is now available, I think they were just working on the chemistry for making their coating on the back be able to be clear, because that's actually what was the different color.
Yep.
So yes, that is... let's see. So rulers, we're gonna go this one.
Yeah.
All right. So the link that will be coming up here in just a moment is going to be for our Quilter Select rulers.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So next we have, what do you want to talk about next?
Oh goodness.
These are fun. This is the stiletto and the seam ripper.
So
It's Mr. Pointy.
outside of actually using this as a stabbing tool, which is not recommended by any, this is a phenomenal little guy. It has a very, very fine tip. I have a couple different stilettos. This one has absolutely got the best, cleanest tip, where it's not in your way.
Yeah.
But it is still very strong and gets you what you need. I love this one. I also love that I don't have to do the whole screw thing. to take off. My other stiletto is a pain in the bum to open. I mean, it's great because it doesn't fall open on its own, but neither does this.
Yeah.
So that has a lid to make sure that you don't have Mr. Pointy out and hurting your hand when you reach into the drawer to get that. Absolutely love the stiletto. There is a coordinating seam ripper as well, which again is a nice and fine tool. You just flip and you've got the nice handle there as well. So that kind of goes along with that. Hopefully you don't need this too much, but it's always nice to have a nice one when you do need it versus a crappy one that's dull.
I used it this morning.
What were you making this morning?
I was working on the gargantuan tote bag.
Tongue in cheek.
So the last bag club class is, they call it a tote. And it's a sewing, it's a small little tote bag. The picture makes it look like it's a tote bag, like you're gonna put a bunch of stuff in there. It's really about the size of like a lunch bag. And so it's
a nice size purse.
It is. It's much smaller than it is.
But it's a purse. It's not a tote.
Yeah,
for sure.
And when I knew when I was top stitching it this morning that it was not going well. It just was not.
Why can't I find the other one?
Which one?
I found it the other day. The one we have in stock.
Oh, I think is that like Lenore? Did you try?
I just
try brass. Just
brass didn't come up either.
It didn't.
Try Mr. Pointy.
Right.
All right, I will keep digging.
I feel like, is it Eleanor Burns?
Maybe. Nifty Notions. Oh, for crying out loud. I found it yesterday when I was linking it. Oh, love it.
You can open the email and follow the link.
Hey, you know what? That's probably faster. Let's do that.
Yeah, don't you love technology? Sometimes you're like, it's there, and then
That's
it's
just
not.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, that explains everything.
It does. Wow.
Okay, let's fix that.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Okay, so seam ripper, stilettos, those are super good. I use my stiletto when I put my binding on because I have a hard time with the motion of pulling the binding over and holding it. That motion with my wrist is one of those things that just gets me. Is it like set in the store only? Yep. Oops. All right, so we fixed that. That should work again. And anyway, so I use that all the time. And I've had my brass stiletto.
It
I've
also
had
says we don't have any.
one for at least probably 5 or 6 years. So I've had it for a gazillion years, and it's still super sharp and very pointy. The other thing that I like to use in my sewing room is this little seam roller here, and it works really great when you have the fabric folding pen with it. So sometimes I can't get to the iron, or it's not convenient. Like today I was working on this bag, and there are pleather handles on it, and one of the spaces is a little bit close to the handle, and it was hard to get an iron in there, so I used a little bit of water, and I used my little seam ruler to kind of manage that down.
And this is really easy. I mean, I've had some things where you actually, it's like a syringe, you got to suck the water in. This is so
really
you literally unscrew, you have an open top.
Yeah.
So you can just add that in. And then if you are using starch, you can add the drop because it's concentrated. You don't dump the whole thing in.
Right.
Just drops of the starch to get that in there. Absolutely love this. This was one of those that I was like, oh, we didn't put that in. So I'm glad you grabbed it because it's great. It's also great if you quilt in the hoop so that you don't have to get up and keep leaving your machine.
Right.
Did you say that?
No.
Well, okay. Which is most of the time how I'm doing my piecing is in the
Yeah.
hoop. That's how I like to do all of that stuff.
It also works really good for paper piecing. It helps you, like you can use that.
You can get a
pull the
nice
paper
crisp
off.
piece and go.
Yep.
Yeah,
It also
for
helps
sure.
you with that.
Absolutely.
Another really fun tool is this standard seam guide. So it's this terrible fluorescent color here, and what it has on here, there's no.
What'd you do?
Oh, I was just looking for like like you can't really see it. There's just words behind everything that I was picking
Swap
up.
cameras. I can.
So one of the things that we don't always know is like, what is the distance from like my needle to the edge of something? You can use the little holes that are built in here and like kind of turn your hand wheel a little bit and put it in the 3/8, and then you can kind of judge that from the side. Now I always tell people, it's not like there's a little bit of wiggle room in here.
There's a little play, but it's not a ton.
It's not a ton. So, this is one of those things where you do this, and then you do want to probably just test your seam a little bit to make sure that you're, if you're using an edge guide or something like that, sometimes we tend to push the fabric in there and it might appear like it is a little larger than it intended to be. But it's very, very, very useful when you're trying to figure out what your seam allowance is. And I'm pretty good at visually looking at my 1/4 inch seam and seeing that I'm kind of on point, but I don't typically sew with anything else besides a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And gosh forbid you tell me to sew with a 1/2 inch or 3/8 or 5/8 or something like that. It feels so big that I have.
Your clothing would probably not come out right.
No, I'm sure it wouldn't. I would have to have it's a constant struggle. I was making the bag, and the lining is supposed to be with a 1/2 inch. I sewed I know this. I tell it to people all the time. Sew your lining slightly larger seam allowance so that it's not sloppy inside of it. I 100% know this. Do you think that I followed my own instructions? No, I did not, because 1/4 inch is where my brain goes. So sometimes it is nice to have a little visual of what you're doing.
I looked and I saw that, and that's what I put
okay.
in. We'll talk about that in a second.
I do. I have something to show the cut right binding. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But yeah, the seam guide is great. A couple of other really great little tools that are really, really helpful to have. A nice pair of tweezers. You would be surprised at how often tweezers are helpful while you are sewing something. Sometimes you can't grab the thread. Sometimes
you need to hold the corner of your fabric because you don't want to put your finger
down
or you can't get your finger where it needs to go.
Exactly.
I mean, I've actually been able to sew
right up to
in having it almost go underneath my foot. Well, my finger can't do that.
No.
I mean, that's not.
So this is really great. This is the Tula Pink version. We like the rainbow one. Oh, excuse me. There are lots of
wrong
other.
With pretty. Anything that is a precision tip is what we prefer. So I have probably at least 10 pair of them.
Oh, for sure.
They're everywhere. Because again, I can never find the pair when I need it. I have one in my travel. I actually have them in my bathroom. I have them in my purse. They are just always needed. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're sewing, you're quilting, you're serging. You need tweezers. And I have never found another pair that I like better than these.
No, I would agree.
And I have never found an instance where that tip doesn't work.
Right. I would totally agree.
Personally.
This is kind of a fun tip if you're going to do some quilting in your embroidery machine. Sometimes when we get close to the edge, we can get our batting and our backing to go through the entirety of the hoop, but sometimes the fabric, like the border, just doesn't go all the way out there. I just ran out of space, or I'm only doing a 4-inch piece. You okay over there?
I'm great. It's just what I needed to do. There we go. I hit copy or paste instead of copy on the wrong page. I was like, that's not what I meant to do.
So these are sew tights. And if you would have asked me a year ago if I would be using a magnet in my embroidery machine, good grief. In my embroidery machine, while I was embroidering, I would have told you, you are absolutely nuts. There's no way that I would do that.
I'm not doing that.
But these things are, this is a magnet, and the flat bottom part is, it's the metal part that it connects to, but it's super thin and it's very, very flat. And if you know where you're embroidering, you obviously don't want to use this in a place where your machine could go over top of it, but it is very, very flat. And it does allow you to put this on the edge. It also allows you to put this on the edge of your embroidery hoop if you are struggling to keep your fabrics in place.
From shifting.
If you want to show that over there. These are the sew tights. So they come in all kinds of different shapes. And I don't have very many of them.
It's very thin.
Yeah.
So it can be underneath and not causing any issues.
Yeah. I have, like, I bought, like, they're expensive. So I bought like a single pack of them. I think there were 6 inside the pack. It was probably one of the more expensive things that I have in my sewing room, like cost per thing.
Per whatever.
Yeah, and I really was like, should I, shouldn't I? I don't know why. This seems like one of those things where I was like, is this a waste of money? I use it all the time.
And I'm sorry if you said this. Do you use it for sandwiches?
You can use it for quilt sandwiches. Yeah, like in your embroidery hoop.
Yeah.
You can use the flat part goes on the bottom and the magnet goes on the top, so you can clearly see where it's at. So when you are like coming up too close to your border.
Right, because it's not going to split.
Right,
it
doesn't
can't.
split.
It has to stay in position.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. And you can use it like up to the top edges of your hoop, because most of the time our feet don't go that far up.
Right.
We've got that buffer around there. So you can use it to kind of hold your stabilizer in place too if it's tending to pull in. So it's really great. And it also works really good if you are a bag maker. So sometimes I'm trying to I've got like multiple layers of my fabric and I want to top stitch around the edge, and I'm having a hard time like holding the layers down so that the lining doesn't pop up. You can plop these things down in the middle of like your bag, and it kind of helps hold your pieces together. So I always find we had them on here at one time. I think we had them. So tight, T-I.
It's all one word though, isn't it?
Yep. T-I-T. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep, the minis.
So this one that we have on
Is a
here
5-pack.
is a 5-pack, and it is $21.99. So it's still not.
It's not like super duper.
It's not like I can't afford that, but it is more than.
Yeah, than a pack of needles.
You know, or your binder clips, your wonder clips.
Yep. And that's what I have. Like I have a 5-pack. That's what I'm playing around here with. And I've been super happy, very surprised and super happy with it. They have come out with all kinds of new products. They have cutting mats and all kinds of different things that'll help hold your fabrics in place. I haven't played around with those things yet, but it did take me a little while before I was like, should I?
Right. Well, you know, depends on what you're doing, what's going to be worth things for you. So that's...
So yeah, it's kind of just one of those things. It's one of those cool things that I feel like I use way more places than I originally thought I would use.
So we did that.
Yes.
We did that.
Yes, we did these.
We didn't do that.
We did not. We didn't do that. Did you do this?
I did not.
Okay. So
I almost did, and then you came back, and then I didn't.
So, so another thing that's really nice to have in your arsenal, these are they call them nook and cranny cleaning tools. We've talked about these before, but they're kind of like they're rubber, and you can just rinse them off after you're done, which means you're not
you're not wasting.
Right. I mean, I used Q-tips and all kinds of different things, but you definitely are wasting those things. And I
mean, they're intended to be disposable, where this is tended to be reusable.
Right.
Which is a nice.
It's $5, so it's really inexpensive. There's basically 2 different types in there. They kind of look like mascara brushes, and then there's one that has like a little ball
on the tip that kind of gets into little.
Yeah. Super helpful. Great for cleaning up, and it really does grab a lot of stuff. And the handle is nice because you can kind of get in a little bit further. It's a tad bit longer than your typical Q-tip. Except for those. Remember that year I bought Tony those giant Q-tips?
I do.
I still have some of those. And then we have this has become.
I typed so too. And then it popped up, so I stopped. But that was funny to come back to.
This has become like the shop's favorite rotary cutter.
It has.
I have always been a big proponent of the, how did I already forget what the name of the other rotary cutters were that I used? OFA, thank you.
I'm like,
I'm like, what is the name of them? They were like quick change, OFA. And I have a half a dozen of them at home at least. But this one, and I was like, am I going to hate that there's like a screw on here that I have to change? It's not just one button.
But you know, and even
It's
that,
easy.
all OLFAs are not quick change anymore.
No.
It used to be almost standard, like everything, but
Yeah.
now they have, a lot of them have screws too. So.
Yeah, we went from like all of them being screw and then all quick change and then back to like
it's kind of like hit or miss, so you
yeah.
have to
And-
really pay attention.
And this does have a screw, so you do have to loosen the screw in order to change the blade. But it's only one screw, and it's not a screw and a spring and a washer and a yada yada yada. So, anyways, it has a ball bearing in it, and it is the smoothest cut of
It's
any
so
rotary
nice.
cutter
So nice.
that I've ever used, which means that you have to apply really a lot less exertion, is a lot less effort.
You're not getting the shoulder pain or the wrist pain
No.
that you would get if you're cutting like for an entire quilt and you're just cutting and over again. You can cut for a longer period of time with less strain on your body because it does the work for you. It's like butter. I mean, it's just like you don't barely push at all, and it does what it's
Right.
wonderful. It was really, really great.
And
They are now going to be.
we'll have all three sizes. So they've
So-
got the baby, the standard, and then the big one. So
So right now we just have the 45 here in store, but they have just released that.
they're coming soon.
They're coming.
Yes.
That those other two sizes, which we all love.
Yeah. So we'll have 28,
So we'll
45.
have 28, 45, and
60.
60 available in this format. And we have been talking about trying to streamline our choices so that you guys don't look and say, okay, there's 4. Which one do I want? So we talked, and this is probably going to be the only one available on our shelf.
Yeah, it's about, what do we figure, $4
$4 more than the Olfa.
Than the
but
Olfa one, but yeah.
it is a superior cut, and like we said, much less strain on
Right,
your body.
right.
For sure.
So coming soon, bigger versions. And if you haven't gotten your hands on this and you need a new rotary cutter, that is definitely
the way to go.
what you want. And then I really like these Karen K. Buckley scissors.
I do too. Mine are pink. No, they're purpley pink.
Yeah,
I like
they
a
come
magenta.
in different sizes.
Yes.
And we don't carry a ton of them, but I definitely think that we should carry.
We have carried random sizes, and they're hit or miss as
Yeah.
to what people are. But all of them, it doesn't matter what they are. I have like the tiny pair. I have this pair. Well, it's close. I think they're a little bit bigger. The pink, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they're all great.
They're
They're
great.
very sharp and
Yes.
very precise, and the tip is very fine, so you can really get that tiny precise cut where sometimes your scissors have much more blunt. If they're super sharp, they don't necessarily have a really great tip.
Yep.
It's too big
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, so those
That
are fantastic.
Is one of the reasons why I love this. Is this very, very sharp point tip. It's really easy to get into like corners and things like that if you're trying to snip through something. But that point being super sharp is very, very, very helpful. A couple of patterns that are kind of oldies but goodies. There have been a variety of different colors of this pattern here. This is called the Yellow Brick Road. And it is the second quilt that I ever made. And it's revised in copyright 2000 and revised in 2014. So it has been around forever. It is a fat quarter friendly quilt. And
Because we don't have any. Sorry, we'll still put this up there.
And you can make a baby quilt all the way up to a king size quilt. And I have made every size in between. The picture is atrocious on here, but this is an adorable quilt. It's very easy to sew up. It has a lot of like strip piecing techniques, and it's really great. So if you need a pattern in your arsenal that is
It's just a quick.
yeah, great. Like maybe you have charity quilts that you're making
Mm-hmm.
or baby quilts that you want to make, and you want something, scrappy is back again. So these are very scrappy and so much fun to make. And you can even make them without the border. So you can make like and just don't put the border on there, and then it's a little less fabric, and
Right.
you can add a couple more fat quarters in and make it a little bit
sure.
bigger. But super easy quilt. And if I told you I made 50 of these, I would be lying. I probably made closer to 100. It was just a really, really great, easy pattern to make. And
It's always nice when you can do a fat quarter.
yeah. And I always say they always look cute, and I'm like, except for the one on the pattern.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
But it's a really, really easy pattern to make. And then this pattern book that we have, this is the Fat Quarter Quartet. And this is a really fun quilt pattern book. This has a bunch of quilt patterns in it, and when you buy this pattern from us, you are supporting two small shops actually in Michigan, us here, and then Bits and Pieces. They're in Wayne, Michigan, so they wrote this pattern over here, and there's a lot of really fun, easy quilts in here. We have a bunch of samples of these in the store. They're great for like our embroiderers. Like there's a lot of patterns that work
Have
really
a square that you can embroider. If you have a theme of something,
right.
You can easily fill in the main squares.
Yep.
Very, very easily.
Yep, there's like a pillowcase pattern in here. It even has information on how to do the centering. We did that as a class.
We did the embroidery on the pillowcase, and I used this pattern, and that was part of your kit. You got this book, and it talked about how to get your placement of where do you want to put that design, and how do you make that work.
Exactly. There's like a little knapsack bag, so like a drawstring bag pattern in here, which is really great, like if you want to gift your pattern or something. And then a bunch of different things in here, and they're all fat quarter friendly. So again, nice, fun things to do. And then I know that at least once or twice I've mentioned the fake Vera Bradley Mickey Mouse tote bag that I'm making for Lisa and I. That I haven't gotten it yet. Yeah, it'll be before your birthday. I'll have them for us for the retreat. Now I have a deadline. But I am using this is our Mickey heads that we're doing. So this is called Take Me to the Magic Again, and they're just there's a Minnie and a Mickey, and it's also a fat quarter friendly little quilt pattern.
So cute.
It's so cute. And
different
then
sizes and,
then I have a tote bag pattern that I'm going to use with it, but it's not next to me. I don't know where. It's around here somewhere. I couldn't find it. So that was a lot of stuff.
That is a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I feel like there's still so many more things. I was like, my favorite scissors aren't really quilting scissors.
Right. And then we have the Cut Right bind up tool, which Lisa already plopped up in there again, but Marilyn had asked if I could do a little tutorial on that. And so I have a little piece of fabric here, and I would be happy to do a little tutorial. So I think I'm going to see if Lisa and I can swap spaces.
Give me 1 moment.
Yep, she's still typing.
I started titling them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were getting
everything, yeah.
A lot of the times sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just grabbing my pen. Okay. So, can you put me over here, please? I should have done that before I got up. I did not. Okay.
Like, grabbing the wrong mouse.
There's so many mice up here. Well, I got it.
So many, I would normally be running screaming.
Okay, so this is my favorite binding tool. One of the things that as many quilts as I've made, as many times as I have done binding, I have messed up the final join. So obviously this is not a full quilt, but we'll just pretend it's a full quilt. This is the end that I started on, and then this is the end that I finished on. So I need to make sure that I have a little bit of wiggle room to move around. And all of the instructions that I'm telling you are actually written in here, and I think there's actually a video that you can go to and watch it. Unless she's redone it, it kind of looks like she's in a cave, in a dungeon, and it's not a great video, but I think you can get the gist.
And yes, Dee, we do have that in stock.
All right. So basically what we have to do is we need to sort of press the fabric. Now, I never actually go to the iron to press. I just lay my strips next to each other. And
one of those.
Yep. And the water pen works really nice here too if you need it, but you're just going to crease this. And so we need to have a really, really good crease. So here's my first crease, and then I'm going to take my second fabric piece here, and I'm going to put that right next to it. Now, the pattern tells you to butt these pieces up together. I'm going to tell you that I never butt them up together. I always leave maybe just 1/8 of an inch between the two pieces. I have found that most of the time when I go to sew the two pieces together, there's a little bit of give in the fabric. And when I butt the two pieces up together, sometimes I get a little bit of a bump there. So I make them so that they're just a little bit.
Just so you can see the interior fabric through it.
Just a tiny little bit in between the pieces here. So there's just about 1/8 of an inch there. So now that I have this here, then I'm going to take my ruler. The ruler has an L and an R. And what you want to do is I'm going to start with the left side here. You could start with the right side, it doesn't matter. So I've got my L. So I'm going to open my left side here. Now, if you can't see the lines where they intersect, you can draw those so that you can see them better. I don't usually draw them, and I don't definitely usually draw them with a marker. I'm just going to show you this so that you can see. So this is the crease line that we made in the fabric.
So again, you want to make that visible. So when you're folding it, if you're using a roller, if you're using your fingernail, make sure you give it a really good push so that you're going to get a clean line so you know where that crosshair is.
Yep. Then you're going to take your ruler and you're going to line up this line here. So this says length and this says width. So I'm going to line that up on the line.
Can you hold the ruler up to the camera a little better? There was a glare that you couldn't see the lines themselves. There we go.
There we go. So I'm lining the length and the width on the ruler with the lines that I drew.
And she's working left, so she wants to be able to read the L.
Yep, L is visible in the left-hand corner there. I'm going to line those pieces up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the angle. So again, I don't usually use a permanent marker, but I usually use some sort of marking tool. So I'm going to draw that line. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want to draw my little notch out of the corner. And so the left-hand side, my notch is on the bottom right. So I'm going to slide my ruler up. And I'm going to draw the notch in the corner. Okay? So this is the left side. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the right side. Again, I'm going to draw that line on here so that you guys can see that easier. But if you're at home and you can see your lines clearly, you don't have to mark them. You can just use the lines with your creases. There we go. So now I'm going to flip the ruler so that I have the R up. And I'm going to line that up with the line. Again, width and length, because that's what it tells me to do. And I'm going to draw the diagonal line, and then I'm going to use the notch. So I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to draw the notch.
Now comes the scary part.
Then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut on that line. You want to cut on the line, like right through it. I usually cut just on the inside of it. Don't cut on the outside because you're just adding more fabric.
You'll get that bump.
And then I'm going to cut the little notch out. So my piece looks like this. I'm going to do the same thing to the left side. cut the notch, cut the angle. Now I'm going to join my two pieces. There's really only one way to join these, right? They're only going to kind of go together one way. This is how I prevent myself from twisting the fabrics. I always twist the fabrics. The little notches that we cut out at the bottom, they help me line the fabric up. So you know how sometimes you have those little wings on the end and you're not really sure where to line the edges up? So this helps me. So that little notch helps me line up here. And then I usually use a pin. I don't usually use a clip, but I have clips here.
There's pins on the machine, but that's not over here.
So I'm going to clip that. And then I usually come over to the other side and line that edge up as well.
I love it when random things fall over.
Right. And then what should happen is I'm basically the piece, the crosshair and the crosshair, they should be kind of lining up on top of each other over here if we've done this correctly. And then I usually put a pin through there. And then I'm going to take that over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew that seam. So you're going to sew that seam with your 1/4 inch. And once you have done that, then what happens when you open it up is you have that diagonal seam.
And it fits.
And it fits. And then you sew your binding up and then you flip it around. So it's an easy way of allowing you to make this piece here basically match.
So no math.
No math, yes.
No quilt math necessary.
Yeah, that's kind of, and I mean, there are a million ways to do that where people are like, oh, you this is the width that it needs to be. So you cut it here and then you've got 2 square pieces. And then since I don't have that diagonal line written on there, I promptly put those pieces together to sew them diagonally because that's how I usually sew them. And then I do it wrong. And then I do it wrong. And then I do it wrong.
And then you unsew it.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time you get it right,
now
your
it's
piece is so frayed and chewed up.
and my it's so stretched out that that I find it frustrating. And this way, to me, I don't have to think.
It is a stress-free way to finish off your binding. I mean, there are millions of ways people do different things on the internet. You can watch so many different things. There's other ways for sure. This is absolutely the least amount of stress, the easiest. There's no math. You don't even have to think. As long as you can read the R and you're on the right side and you can read the left and you're on the left, that's all that matters.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you've turned it and your strip is at the top or if it's at the bottom, as long as you are reading the side that you're on correctly. So the R is going the right way and the L is going the right way. You're good.
You're good.
And you don't have to think and you don't have to math.
Yes.
It's the bestest ever.
It is. It is. It's really very, very, very easy.
You have definitely made my quilting life happier. I mean, it really is a matter of what people show you and the different tools that are out there. And if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. So until you have a buddy that gives you all of the skinny on, you should use this.
Yeah.
And when you do your binding, you should do this. And when you have those little tricks, it makes things so much more fun.
It really does. I remember. So we used to do when I worked at the other shop, they used to do like these in the evening mystery quilt things, and so it was kind of like you take your shoes off, we're having a party kind of thing, and it's a mystery quilt, so you're only getting like one piece at a time. There's a comment we're on, and
I switched. Yep.
So I sewed something, and I pressed the seams and. Someone pointed out to me that pressing your seams in opposite directions, they mirrored together, and then all of a sudden and then you have these nice, beautiful points. And it was the simplest
like the
little
light bulb.
tip, but it was like it totally blew my world.
Well, you know, and depending again on who's teaching you or what video you watch, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I pressed all of mine open.
Yeah. And, you
And
know,
it's not that that's wrong.
no. And more people are pressing their seams open these days. I still, like,
There are times when you need to.
I love the look of the seams pressed open. I really do. But I love when
Everything meets so
yes,
well.
when they are when they just nest together, it's like your points, they're so much better. I don't get the same consistent points like in my squares or my four squares or things like that when I press my seams open. The back is flatter.
Well, the thing when you have them nesting is that they don't shift. So when they have that lock in
Yeah.
and they go under your foot, they're not shifting because they're bumped into where they can't.
Yeah.
And it just makes things so much easier. But there are times where it doesn't work.
Yeah,
then you have to,
you have
know,
to-
do something else.
There's too
Either
much
they
bulk.
all go one way or, you know,
Yeah.
depending upon them. And the pattern would tell you,
Yeah.
you need to do this or whatever. But
Right.
it definitely can make a really big difference.
And you know, the patterns they tell you like there's arrows going this way and there's arrows and not all. You know, I made my first quilt 20 years ago or so. So it was there was no YouTube. I did not have
There
a
wasn't
YouTube.
20 million videos to go and watch
no,
at that time.
no, and patterns were definitely
COVID haven't happened yet.
they were different. Patterns were a lot like the Yellow Brick Road pattern. They're a very simple drawing description and how to make it. So it was nice, but yeah, that little tip thing just I felt like it like made my quilting like a million times better. Like everything just started looking like I had a clue of what I was doing, which I really did not
It's like
know.
when you cut it correctly.
Yeah.
Lo and behold.
Lo
I
and
mean,
behold.
It really does make a difference on those little things. Especially,
Yeah.
you know, quilting is definitely a very precise art.
It is.
If you are you're probably going to regret it by the time you're at the end of your quilt because too many of those, everything at the end doesn't end up the way you need it. And then you have to start fudging and it's not fun.
It is not. No.
But yeah. So
I know we're like at the end, but I feel like we should. I feel like our retreat is like the elephant in the room, right? We should still talk about
Let's
it.
talk about that real quick, and then we'll let you go for the day. So we have gotten tons of phone calls and questions and emails and different things about, you know, what is this and what is that, and so you've been explaining it, so you have the verbiage already there. I'm just gonna let you go.
So, you know, we have kind of like a a big picture, like a sketched out plan of what we're going to do. But we don't really have all of the final details yet. There are still a lot of things that are up in the air. Some of the things that are up in the air are, you know, how much is going to be in your kit. We have a budget, so we had to start someplace. So when we figured out the pricing of everything, you know, the one thing that we knew is we knew what the food was going to cost us.
We knew what the room was going to cost.
And we knew what the ballroom rental rate was going to cost. So we knew those things. Those were the two
fixed numbers
that we had nothing to do with. And so we took that information and then we decided on an arbitrary number for fabric kits and supplies and
so if
staffing.
we hit a sale, then y'all get more.
That's right.
If we can get donations from vendors, you want to sponsor this project and send us the batting or whatever it happens to be, you'll get more.
Then we can put
more to play with
in your stuff. We know that we are going to be making you a project and it's going to be something that will hold your supplies
for the whole weekend.
And we are the Leabu staff is making that for everyone, and it'll be a surprise.
They don't know that yet. You guys know that before them.
It'll be a surprise, like all of the fabrics and all the pieces of that part of it. Because that's kind of like our thank you gift, and then we're gonna package up your kits in them.
But speaking of their kits,
yes,
we're not going to just give you fat quarters and yardage and say, okay, now we're going to do this project. Everybody go prep and iron and nope.
No,
we're going to have that all done for you.
Yeah.
So your kit will be crack the seal of the bag and sit down and sew or sit down and embroider, whatever it happens to be.
Yes.
We are going to literally have it be ready to go for you. So it's not going to be, you have to make all of these cuts and you have to fuse this to that and all of those things. Whatever it is, we're going to have it ready for you.
Yep. We really want to make this as stress-free and as fun as we possibly can. We want you to be able to do some fun projects, but we also want you to be able to do the fun part, which is really the creating of it. Some people, the majority of people, it's the prep work that sucks like the energy out of the project, right? Oh my God, I have.
By the time I got all of it done, I didn't want to do it anymore.
Right? My brain was too mushy. I cut all these pieces. So we want to do all of that work for you. So your projects will be bagged, they will be tagged, and they will be ready.
There might even be stickers that say piece number 1,
right,
piece number 2.
Right.
Depends on what the project is.
Yes. And we kind of have a loose theme on the projects that we are going to be working on. We are assuming that this is going to be the first of many quilt retreats or sewing retreats that we do. And so part of what we want to do is we want to create pieces that you will be able to use
through the weekend,
then
again at home,
and then at home, and when you come back the following year, you will do that. So we have like a fun pillow project planned out, and then we have a quilt that will coordinate with the pillow. We won't make the quilt during the retreat. We'll make the pillow. You can dip your fingers or your toes in to the little quilting process if you like it. Then you are going to get a pattern that has all of the information in it.
And if you want to buy a fabric bundle to make the rest of the quilt, we'll have that available.
We'll have that, yes. And so we have a lot of these projects that we're kind of mulling around. Will we be able to do 10 projects in 3 or 4 days? I don't know the answer to that. Some of it is going to be, will we be able to afford to do all 10 projects with you? Some of that will depend upon how much sponsorship we can get to help offset the cost of the kits and everything. We have to work within the budget. Obviously, we don't want to go in the hole with
that doesn't really work so hot.
And we also want to make sure that you have plenty of time for doing whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe you have some other projects that you want to work on. Maybe you want to do some socializing. Maybe you just want to hang out with other people, that do, and you just want to chit chat. So,
so even if, let's say we have 8 and you want to do one of them because you've got this other project you want to do. Okay, it's your weekend. You do it however you want. You'll still receive all of the materials. You could make them later. You'll have the information that you would need to do that. So
exactly. So
it really is up to you guys what you want to participate in. We're just going to have a window of options.
Exactly. And we know we're going to have some demos, and we'll probably have some extra kits and things for you that are going to be kind of exclusive to our retreat. And, we'll have special buys for you.
Yep.
We'll have special sales just for you. We'll have a little mini shop there for you to shop. We have all kinds of things planned. But
games. We didn't say games.
Yeah,
we're going to do games. Quilt bingo. There's a thing I played when I went to Kimberbell, and they did it with fat quarters, but it was a dice game. And so everybody sat around tables and passed stuff around, and then somebody won fat quarters, depending on who they ended up in front of, and whatever. So it was a lot of fun. So, we've got some thoughts on some different things. Bingo will probably be in there. We've pretty much said we're going to play bingo.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody loves bingo.
Everybody, who doesn't love bingo?
And if you happen to be the one person that doesn't, you can go sew. You don't have to play.
That's right. You can ignore us. It's
you
fine.
can ignore us.
Yep.
We're used to it.
But
we're married.
There is also, and there's a pool. And there is like a little workout room. So, sometimes when I travel and I do things, like Dave comes with me, but he's not going to participate in the quilt thing. But, so he could hang out at the pool, which he would totally love. Or the, oh, look, DaVinci Resolve can do anything. The random pop-ups that our computer give us. Anyways, we have a lot of things.
That's what I used
Thanks.
last night. So that was on your computer,
Yeah,
not
my
mine.
computer.
It's very odd.
But we do have limited space. So we have unlimited ideas, but we do have a limited space. So there, we can only fit 40 people in the space. This is going to give everybody their own 8-foot table.
Yep.
And beyond that part, we're going to keep talking about the things as we sort of know more.
Yep.
But
If we
eventually,
confirm this is going to be part of what we're doing, then we will let you know.
yes. But that's the one thing that we cannot do. I cannot add more spaces to the retreat. So when the retreat is sold out, I can't stretch the room.
Nope.
No. So that is the only definitive thing that we know for sure, is that the maximum amount of retreaters we can have
Is 40.
And we are slowly filling that up at a good clip.
Yes,
So
absolutely. So, yep. If you think you want to do this, we don't recommend you wait too long, because we don't know how long there's going to be seats.
Yes.
So, I anticipate we'll be out well before September gets here.
Yeah.
But it's
who knows?
a crapshoot.
That's right.
So, hopefully that answered anything that was rolling around in anybody's head out
Yes.
there. So, if you are having any other questions, I didn't see anybody pop up any of their
Favorite notions?
things. There's just a whole bunch of mine. But, yep, I think we're good there.
Okay.
So,
Yes. So if you guys have any questions, you can definitely give us a call, or you
Absolutely.
can send us an email. And but we will keep talking about it here and giving you guys updates as we finalize stuff.
yes. And the sign up for retreat is on our site. I'm not in front of there. I'd throw it up on
Yep.
the screen, but it's pretty easy. So, oh, how
Pam
sweet.
says we're her favorite.
Is the dining area separate? So
Yes, no.
yes and no. The table, you will have space at your own table. We won't have actual tables in the sewing space for you to just go sit at and eat, but you can eat in there. So if you would like to, you can take your food back to your space and eat. But there are lots of spaces around that you can eat at as well. So it's kind of however you prefer. But there are, tables out in the lobby that you could sit at if you would like to, or you could come in and sit. You could go back to your room. If you are staying at the hotel, you could go sit in your car if you're like, I've had enough of these people, I need a break.
Yeah. Too
Whatever.
much SNL.
It's completely it's completely up to you where you would like to eat. The only thing that we don't have any flexibility on is you can't bring outside food into the sewing space.
Yep.
So the only food that is allowed in there is the hotel's food.
Yes.
So if you want to eat at your sewing space, it does have to be the food that's being provided at the event.
Yeah, that's kind of where our hands
That's where we got stuck.
were tied food-wise because of the health department and so on and so forth. They only let you have basically food that was prepared on site.
Yeah, there's safety. I mean, there's reasons behind it, and I completely understand. Having worked in the restaurant business for so long, I totally understand. You can only be responsible for food that you prepared in your space. I get it.
Yep.
But there you go.
Yes.
It is what it is. So that's where those numbers all came from, is because we're using their food on site and whatnot. So
yeah, and the overwhelming consensus of everybody that
they didn't want to all go out and find food and whatnot. They'd rather have it be there. So
only
that's the way we went.
if you wanted to forage for your own food, and so we majority won.
Majority won.
Yes.
So,
but we promise it will be fun.
Yup. Anything else pop up?
Nope.
I don't think that was okay.
Those are the two that I.
Yep.
But it doesn't know.
Perfect. Nope. It doesn't know that you looked at it over there.
It does not.
Imagine that.
I know, right? The nerve.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully one of these things gave you a spark of inspiration or ideas. And you can do it. That's fine.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me.
I was just like, you're not on the right one, so I didn't want you to do
this one?
Yeah, there you go. You were on the.
I was there. It had moved.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
All right. All right, guys.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
That was a lot.